Welcome to The Root Cause, a podcast that takes a deep dive into all things manufacturing, sponsored by Mass Group.
All right, so we're diving deep today into root cause analysis,
Yeah.
specifically in manufacturing.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Going beyond just fixing a problem, figuring out why it happened in the first place.
Right, getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah, the evolution of problem solving, it really highlights how crucial this has been in manufacturing for a very long time.
Oh, I bet.
Every minute that a factory's down, that's money lost.
Right,
Quality issues can really hurt a company's reputation.
for sure.
And any inefficiencies are just eating away at profits.
So this isn't just like a nice to have, huh?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
This is about survival in a competitive market.
Yeah. Okay, so let's rewind the clock back to the early 1900s. Picture Henry Ford, not just the assembly line genius, but a problem-solving pioneer.
Now, that's a side of Ford I bet most people don't know.
Right, most folks associate him with the Model T and mass production.
Yeah.
But here's where things get interesting. That very assembly line he created actually forced him to become a problem-solving ninja. Think about it. One tiny snag, one part out of place, and boom, the whole operation could grind to a halt.
Like a giant domino effect, one wrong move, and
Yeah.
the whole line falls apart.
So Ford, being the innovator, he was simplified and standardized processes to minimize those errors. And get this, he did all this way before quality control was even a thing.
He was ahead of his time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
These ideas really laid the groundwork for what we consider standard practice today.
Absolutely. So while Ford was busy standardizing over in America across the Pacific, another manufacturing powerhouse was emerging, Toyota. And these guys took problem solving to a whole new level with their continuous improvement philosophy, also known as Kaizen.
Ah, Kaizen. It's like a mantra in the manufacturing world. Always striving for better, never settling.
Right. And from this relentless pursuit of improvement came a tool that sounds deceptively simple, the 5 Whys.
The 5 whys are incredibly powerful. Imagine peeling back the layers of an onion, each why, revealing another layer of the problem until you reach the core. It's about forcing yourself to look beyond the obvious and uncover the real culprit.
Okay, so for those listening who haven't actually tried the 5 Whys, give us a real-world example. I mean, can we apply this outside of a factory setting?
Absolutely. Let's say your internet suddenly goes out, super frustrating, right? So you ask, why is the internet down? Maybe the router is acting up. But you don't stop there. You dig deeper and ask, why is the router not working? Could be a power outage. Why is there a power outage? You check your phone and boom, a neighborhood-wide outage is reported. See just 3 whys and you've gone from blaming your router to understanding the bigger picture.
That's a perfect example. And you know what? I'm starting to realize how useful the 5 Whys could be for, well, almost any problem. It's like a mental detective tool.
Exactly. And it's a fantastic starting point for more complex problem-solving methods like the 8D process, which Ford Motor Company developed later in the 1980s.
Now, from what I've read, 8D is like the big brother of the 5 Whys. Way more structured, more collaborative.
You could say that manufacturing was becoming increasingly complex, and those simple why questions just weren't enough anymore. So Ford Motor Company came up with the 8D process, which stands for 8 disciplines of problem solving. Basically, a super systematic way to tackle those tougher problems with a whole team on board.
Okay, so it's all about bringing order to the chaos of a problem. Love it. But a roadmap with 8 steps, I'm already feeling a bit overwhelmed.
I hear you. It does sound a bit daunting at first, but trust me, there's a logic to the madness. Each step builds on the one before it.
Okay, so walk us through those steps. What's the first crucial move in this 8D detective story?
The first step, and arguably the most important, is assembling your team. You need the right people with the right expertise, kind of like gathering your best detectives for a case. Then you move on to clearly defining the problem. This is where those observation skills come in, gathering all the facts, data, and symptoms, just like a detective examining the crime scene.
So it's all about setting the stage and getting everyone on the same page. What happens next? Do we jump into full-on Sherlock mode?
Not quite yet. The third discipline is about taking quick action to contain the problem, prevent it from spreading or causing more damage. Think of it as putting up those yellow caution tapes around the crime scene.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's damage control before diving into the why behind it all.
Exactly. And that brings us to the heart of the 8D process root cause analysis. This is where you pull out all the stops, brainstorming, using tools like the 5 Whys, analyzing data, and really digging deep to uncover the root cause.
It's like putting those detective skills to the test, examining the clues and connecting the dots.
Absolutely. And once you've identified the root cause, the next step is figuring out how to fix it. This involves developing a corrective action plan, essentially coming up with a strategy to neutralize the culprit,
So we've gone from defining the problem to understanding the why, and now we're ready to take action. What comes next?
Well, it's time to implement those corrective actions, making sure they actually work, and the problem is truly solved. This is like apprehending the culprit and making sure they're off the streets for good.
But the case isn't closed just yet, right? What about preventing the problem from happening again?
You're one step ahead of me. The seventh discipline is all about prevention. This is where you put measures in place to make sure the problem doesn't rear its ugly head again. Think of it as installing a state-of-the-art security system to prevent future break-ins.
Love the analogy. So we've solved the mystery, caught the bad guy, and put safeguards in place. What's the final step?
The last but certainly not least discipline is all about recognizing your team's success. After all, cracking a tough case deserves a celebration, right?
Absolutely. It's about acknowledging all that hard work and fostering that sense of teamwork.
Exactly. And celebrating success also reinforces that continuous improvement mindset, encouraging everyone to keep those problem-solving skills sharp.
Okay, so we've got Ford standardization, Toyota's 5 Whys, and now Ford Motor Company's super systematic AD process. It's fascinating to see how this idea of root cause analysis has evolved over time. But I have to ask, with all the amazing technology available today, are these older methods still relevant?
That's a great question, and the answer might surprise you. These so-called old-school methods are more relevant than ever. They've actually paved the way for the incredibly sophisticated problem-solving technology used in factories today. Things like real-time data analysis automation and those manufacturing execution systems, or MES, that you hear so much about.
Okay, so it's like these classic methods have gone digital. Tell me more about how these MES systems are changing the game.
Well, imagine having a detective with access to a real-time feed of everything happening at the crime scene. That's essentially what an MES system does for a factory. They're constantly collecting and crunching data from every corner of the production floor, giving manufacturers an incredible level of visibility.
So it's like having a bird's eye view of the entire operation 24/7.
Exactly. And that level of visibility allows manufacturers to spot problems much earlier, sometimes even before they actually occur.
Wait, so they can predict the future? That sounds a bit like science fiction.
Not quite predicting the future, but getting pretty close. These systems can analyze historical data and real-time trends to identify patterns that might indicate a problem brewing. It's like noticing that the same suspect keeps hanging around the jewelry store, a red flag that something might be up.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about being proactive and preventing problems rather than reacting after they've already caused chaos.
Exactly. And that's where the link to those classic root cause analysis methods comes in. Remember how we talked about the importance of identifying the why behind a problem? Well, MES systems can be a powerful tool for this too.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How do they do that?
By providing detailed data on every single step of the production process, an MES system can pinpoint exactly where a problem originated. It's like having a super detailed record of everything that happened leading up to the crime, making it much easier to identify the culprit.
So it's like having a digital trail of breadcrumbs leading right to the source of the problem.
Exactly. And this level of detail is essential for truly understanding and solving those complex manufacturing problems. It goes beyond just fixing the symptom and allows you to address the root cause, preventing it from happening again.
So it sounds like these MES systems are really taking root cause analysis to the next level.
Absolutely.
The TME MES system.
Yes.
What's so special about that one?
It's a great example of how these systems are being tailored specifically for root cause analysis.
Okay.
It goes way beyond just basic data collection. Imagine a scenario where a batch of products fails a quality check.
Okay. Yeah.
TME can instantly trace those faulty products back to the exact machines and materials, even operators.
Oh, wow. So it's like a detective that could retrace every step.
Exactly. And then it takes it even further, generates reports, suggests potential root causes. Based on all that data, it can even flag similar incidents from the past to help you identify recurring patterns.
So it's like taking 5 Whys in AD and giving them a boost with all this data?
And AI.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But all of this raises a question for me. If we can predict and prevent these problems before they even happen, what happens to the need for, the old ways?
Right.
Will 5 Whys in AD become obsolete in the future?
It's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if these technologies are going to completely change how we approach problem solving. Maybe it's not about replacing those old methods entirely,
Yeah.
but finding ways to integrate them with all these powerful new tools.
I think it's a great point. It's not about picking one or the other.
Exactly.
It's about finding the balance between human expertise
Mhm.
and this amazing new technology. So we've gone from like Henry Ford's really simple approach, just wanting to make things consistent,
Right.
all the way to AI that can like almost predict the future on the factory floor.
It's pretty incredible.
It's mind-blowing how much things have changed. But I'm also curious, like, where do we go from here? What does the future hold for root cause analysis?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I'm really excited about is, we've talked about AI analyzing all this data, spotting patterns.
Right.
But what if it goes beyond just identifying, like, what the problem is?
Okay.
What if it can help us understand WHY at a whole new level?
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. Like, give me an example. What could AI uncover that we humans might miss?
Okay, so imagine an AI system that's been keeping track of not just machine performance data, but also things like employee schedules,
Okay.
weather patterns,
Mm.
even tiny shifts in the supply chain.
Oh, wow.
It might find a link that we would never think of. Like, let's say, how humidity spikes on certain days are connected to a specific defect, even though they seem totally unrelated to us.
Oh, wow. So the AI isn't just, like, faster at finding a needle in a haystack. It's finding needles in haystacks we didn't even know existed.
Exactly.
That's incredible, but also kind of scary. What if we become too reliant on these systems? Like, what if we forget how to solve problems ourselves?
That's a valid concern, and it's definitely something we need to be careful of. But I see it more as a way to enhance our own abilities, not replace them entirely.
Oh.
Think of AI as a powerful tool
Yeah.
that can help us see things from new perspectives, make connections we might have missed, and become even better problem solvers.
That's a really interesting idea. It's exciting, but it also makes me wonder about, like, what are the unintended consequences of that? Do we lose the ability to adapt to unexpected problems? Do we become complacent?
Those are great questions, and to be honest, we don't have all the answers yet.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this such a fascinating field. It's not just about the technology, it's about us. The human implications, the ethical questions. We have to constantly adapt and learn.
Wow.
And this is just the beginning. As technology continues to advance, we can expect even more sophisticated tools and techniques to emerge, making problem solving even more efficient and effective.
It's incredible to think about how far we've come. We've gone from Henry Ford simplifying processes to sophisticated systems that can practically predict the future of a factory.
It's all about shifting your mindset, approaching problems with that same curiosity and determination to uncover the why.
So for all of you listening, the next time you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself those whys, even if it feels a bit silly at first. You might be surprised by what you uncover.
And who knows, maybe you'll even invent the next big problem-solving tool.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of root cause analysis from those early assembly lines to the high-tech factories of today. But one thing remains constant, that human drive to understand the why behind things and make them better.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, keep those minds curious, keep those questions coming, and keep pushing the boundaries of problem solving. You never know what amazing solutions you might discover.
And until next time, keep on diving deep.